What is going on, everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with another video, and in this one I wanted to recap the Week 4 performance between the New York Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. But first things first, I'm obviously in a whole different setup here. I'm staying at my buddy UCF Jaguars' place. I actually attended the game with him this morning. I had a great time. I definitely had a great time. But as far as the game goes, it was a hard watch. I walked away really frustrated, and just walking out of the stadium, I just had a bad taste in my mouth. Okay, there was a lot of things in this game that really rubbed me the wrong way. As far as offense, just offensive play calls, the game plan going in, coaching errors, time management, and we're going to get into all that stuff. But I want to start with this. Over the past week, I was having a few issues as far as uploading videos, like my preview video, I think my Josh Rosen video, and the weekly picks video. I could not get up. It would just stay stuck at 95% processing. But all in all, everything should be back to normal for this upcoming week. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Moving on to the game. Jags win pretty big. I believe the final score was 12-31. And one of the touchdowns came kind of in garbage time. So I don't necessarily think it was as big of a blowout as the final score may have showed. But overall, there was a lot of things that frustrated me. Okay, especially, I would probably say the number one thing that just drove me up a wall was just Todd Bowles on the sideline. Time and time again, it was just questionable call after questionable call. Punting late in the game. Like, we're down by so many points. Why are we punting? End of the third quarter, we're just like sitting there letting it go to the fourth quarter. Why are we doing that? It makes no sense at all. It's not like we're down by 3 or 6 or 7 or even 10. We're down by multiple possessions here. We need to put points up on the board. Trumaine Johnson recovers a fumble. We get down, obviously, like right in the Jacksonville Jags red zone, and we're like huddling up, wasting like minute after minute after minute, just calling plays from the huddle. There's no sense of urgency at all. There's no feeling of we could come back to win. It was just dead. It was just lifeless. There was no rhythm. There was no sing. It just felt weird. It just felt out of rhythm. Very strange stuff today. Very strange stuff. And I felt as though the main point of why the Jets seemed like, I could totally be wrong because I didn't watch the game on television. I was there. I was in like the worst possible, or like the cheapest seats possible in the stadium, upper deck, way up top. So of course I didn't have the best view of like all the angles as far as, getting 2 feet in bounds and, questionable calls and stuff like that. I didn't have all those angles. So I could be coming at you guys with a different angle here, but from what I saw, I just felt as though the Jets on offense and as far as the coaching staff had these guys prepared, it was just lifeless. Okay, and credit to the Jags. Credit to the Jags for coming in prepared, coming off a huge loss against the Tennessee Titans. It was definitely, I don't want to say a must-win for the Jags because it's so early in the year, but it's definitely a game they needed to put in the win category, to say the least, to kind of stay alive in the AFC South. So they went out, they handled business. I really think the storyline of the game was the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I know Blake Bortles had like a field day on our secondary, which was tough to watch. And real quick, I know I'm going to kind of ramble here, but can someone please tell me why the New York Jets, time and time again, we cannot stop just the shallow cross route? New England kills us with it. Miami was killing us with it. Cleveland did it to us last week, and Jacksonville just kept doing a shallow cross every time where they just shift everyone out from the left side of the field. They just send these guys on go routes, post routes, whatever, and then they have another guy on the right side of the field come across, crossing the field, wide open, and we just cannot pick up on it, and that was really frustrating. I know Bortles had a ton of yards, and a ton of completion, so I credit him for making the throws and just taking what the Jets defense was giving him, but these shallow crosses were wide open, and we just did not pick up on it. We just could not make adjustments, and really frustrating to watch, especially giving up third down after third down constantly. Whether it's a 3rd and 4, shallow cross, 3rd and 17, shallow cross, and he picks up the first down. It's just unbelievable, and Todd Bowles. I like Todd Bowles as far as a defensive mind. I think he does bring some good ideas to the table. In a perfect world, I think Todd Bowles would be a top 3 defensive coordinator in the league. But when it comes to head coaching responsibilities, he's not in the least. There's no possible way that this guy's even a top 20 coach right now. It's just not. It's just not a realistic thing to say, because the offense struggles. You can make the argument that Sam Darnold has not progressed at all in 4 weeks of playing. The time management is still a complete mess since he got the job, since he took over in 2015. The time management is just horrible. Wasting a timeout early on in the second half cost us. It cost us. Not understanding situational football. That's another thing that really drives me up a wall too. Just taking our time, not having any sense of urgency, like I touched on before. No hurry up at all. There's no creativity on offense. There's just no, I feel as though Todd Bowles and Jeremy Bates, Casey Rogers, the coaching staff, they get stuck in their ways a little bit and they work on one thing in practice. And if something goes wrong or something is like, they have no plan B, right? It's like you're kind of coming to the stadium with one plan and one plan only, and it does not matter what the offense or what the opposing defense does to you. We're going to stick to the plan. We're not going to make any adjustments at all. And it's just really irritating, really irritating, because how can you grow as a young team if your coaching staff cannot adjust? And, Bruce Lee has a quote, "Be like water," right? I just feel as though the Jets are just so stuck in their ways. We can't adjust. We can't morph into we just cannot play smart, and it's just it's tough. It's definitely tough, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to say down below in the comment section. Am I gonna go as far as to say we need to fire Bowles and fire Bates now? I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that, because we're only 4 weeks into the season and we lost to a very, very talented Jaguar team. Jacksonville Jags. They made it to the AFC Championship last year, losing to the Patriots, and you can make the argument that they should have won that game, and they had a few questionable calls. They're obviously a Super Bowl contender this year. So the Jets, who are a less talented team, a team that's nowhere as near as good as Jacksonville, am I going to just ridicule the coaching staff and just say this team is, needs to be completely pulled apart after one loss to a very good team? I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but all in all, very tough loss to watch. I watched it firsthand, and I was sitting in the Jacksonville section, and I was definitely hearing it. So it is what it is. But one more note I just wanted to make regarding the offensive play calling. Okay, this is an issue. This is an obvious issue, and I feel like I need to make this a point. I really feel as though there's either, it's one of two things going on regarding Sam Darnold, Jeremy Bates, and the whole offensive play calls. You heard Quincy Enunwa after the game say, "I'm not out there making the plays. I don't know why this offense can't get going because I'm not calling the plays." That's somewhat of an indirect shot to Jeremy Bates. Like, the play calling is just so remedial. It's so obvious, just the outside handoffs. It's just so obvious. They're just trying to set the edge and stuff like that. It's just a run to the right every single time, to Powell, to Crowell. It's just so blatantly obvious. Jaguars fans in the stands next to me were like, "This is a run to the right." Boom, run to the right. So when you get the fans in the stands just rattling off the play calls, and then they go out and they do it, and it's like a loss of one every time. It's not even like we're having success at that. It's a problem. Okay, and they just continue just to slam their head in the wall and just keep doing the same thing and the same thing and the same thing, trying to hope for a different result. And I just find that odd, to say the least. So going back to what the original point. And I do know I'm kind of rambling on. I'm all over the place in this video. But one thing is I attended the game, so I didn't watch it on TV, so I don't really have that good of a feel for it, because I'm not in the groove of the game. I'm just kind of in the game day atmosphere and stuff like that. So I didn't have the best understanding and the best grip of this game. But going back to what I was saying, the two things that I feel like could be happening here, why I feel like this Jets offense is or looks just completely horrible under Jeremy Bates right now as far as the play calling goes. Number one, Sam Darnold cannot throw deep, and he cannot throw intermediate, right? He cannot throw yards, or he cannot throw passes 15 yards plus. it's just a weak spot. He cannot do it through 4 weeks of the season, thus far. He can't do it. He struggles at it. So Jeremy Bates is now restricted. He's handcuffed to only a few plays, right? Rollouts. You see that a lot with Sam Darnold. Just trying to slide the pocket, get Darnold outside the pocket, just moving Darnold and trying to get him comfortable and throwing it out to the tight ends kind of in the flats, dumping it off to the running backs. A lot of screens to Quincy Enunwa because we see, week after week after week, Terrell Pryor doesn't have any catches. Jermaine Kearse has a hard time getting involved. Robbie Anderson, who I believe is a stud, cannot get involved. And that is an issue, okay, when 3 of your top 4 wide receivers cannot get the football. I know a lot of people out there, a lot of the guys that are defending Sam Darnold and stuff are saying, like, we need to get this guy weapons. He has nothing. He has absolutely nothing. I'd push back and say, yeah, we definitely need to get Sam some upgrades here, especially on the offensive line. We could use, some upgrades for sure. But Robbie Anderson had damn near 1,000 yards under Josh McCown. It's not like Josh McCown's Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Terrell Pryor does have some upside. Quincy Enunwa is having a pretty solid season, and I like that chemistry between them. But Jermaine Kearse is coming off the best season of his career under McCown. McCown was able to stretch the field. McCown was able to distribute. He was able to be the point guard. I feel like with Sam Darnold, he might be restricted and he might only feel comfortable with 1 or 2 guys on the offense. And that's a problem because it's doing Sam Darnold a disservice, or you're doing a disservice to the whole team, right? The whole organization. If you're forcing this kid out there and he's not comfortable throwing deep and he's not comfortable throwing intermediate and you're really only forced to run the ball and throw short, that's a problem. That obviously means Sam Darnold's not ready to play. And that's a huge mistake on the Jets coaching staff for making him play early on. Because I believe if McCown played this game today, we would have had a very, very much higher opportunity to win this game. So that's one issue. That's one avenue where I feel like why this offense is spinning their tires here. The other issue is that Bates just has no clue. He's not creative enough. He just runs to the outside. He's just too stubborn. He's stuck in his ways, and he just cannot expand the playbook. But I'm leaning more towards number 1 because I don't think that the Jets would keep a guy around if he just continues to do the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just failing and failing and failing. Yeah, it worked against Detroit. But look at the flip side. The defense picked off Stafford, 5-6 times? So whenever your defense can get those turnovers for your offense, it doesn't really matter what you do on offense. You're going to be able to put up points. You're going to be able to move the ball. You have 5 or 6 extra possessions, and that's 5 or 6 extra possessions that the defense has to sit out on the field. So they're obviously way tired. So frustrating stuff. Very frustrating stuff. And the Jets fall to 1-3 on the year. We got the Denver Broncos next week. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And again, I know this recap is kind of all over the place. But I don't know. I just got back from like a 2.5 hour drive. So, and I didn't watch the game on TV, so I didn't really have a great understanding of what actually happened. I didn't get all the little the nuances, all the little details and stuff that I normally would get when I watch it on TV. So it is what it is. But let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts on this game. I know there's going to be some comments about Bowles, being fired probably at the end of the season or even now. And I got to say, if this continues, right, if it's just, we have games where it's just penalties, constantly shooting ourselves in the foot. Sam Darnold does not grow as a quarterback. The offensive game plan, they just look stale. They look vanilla. They look plain. I think I'd be in favor of moving on to an offensive head coach. Maybe a guy like Matt LaFleur, the offensive coordinator from Tennessee, who's having a lot of success. Maybe John DeFilippo. I've been on this guy's bandwagon for years now. I've been in love with this guy. He was one of the genius quarterback coaches like years ago, and that's kind of when I fell in love with his overall philosophy, his mindset and stuff, and how I like how he attacks the game and how he can develop a quarterback. So those are 2 guys to watch, But it's week 4. I don't think there's going to be any dramatic changes within the coming weeks. But as of right now, the Jets are 1-3. The offense is stalling, and the defense, they have young players, they have good players, but it has to be a little bit of yin and yang. You can't just have defenses play great and then the offense just suck, and vice versa. You can't have the offense play great and the defense suck. I mean, look at the New Orleans Saints. They had like 3 back-to-back years of the offense being amazing, but the defense not being good at all. And that kind of wound them up to be, 8-8, 7-9. So you can't get the job done. You can't win a lot of football games by having that philosophy. You have to be balanced. You have to have one side of the football. They just basically have to balance each other out. So I'm going to leave it there. Jags win. Credit the Jags. Real quick, actually, you know what? I know this video is going on 15 minutes, and I do appreciate everybody that's sticking around. But one issue I had today, okay, at the end of the game, Doug Marrone is still trying to score a touchdown. That bothered me, and then he goes for 2 points, like trying to rub it in. Like, I don't know if this guy is just upset that he didn't get the Jets coaching job like a few years back when he up and quit out of Buffalo, but that definitely bothered me. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're up by 19 points, and you're sitting here trying to go for 2. Todd Bowles goes out there, class act Todd Bowles, and shakes his hand and stuff. But I mean, I don't know what Doug Marrone is thinking there, and that kind of irritated me. I don't really see the point in doing that, and it's just kind of classless if you ask me. But Jags win, they get the dub, they move on to 3-1 as the Jets fall to 1-3. Disappointing loss, frustrating loss, to say the least. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.